Imagine a blacksmith who tries to forge a sword, but he doesn't understand how metal breaks. If he strikes the iron while it's cold, it shatters. If he overheats it, it melts. He will fail forever, not because he isn't hitting hard enough, but because he doesn't understand the science of the break. David Goggins said something that goes against everything you've been told about success. I didn't teach myself victory first, I taught myself failure. If you don't know how to fail, there is no victory. Most of us are obsessed with the winning mindset. We visualize the podium. But neuroscience suggests that trying to win before you've conditioned your brain for the whole is actually dangerous. You have a specific biological switch in your brain that controls giving up. And right now, yours is probably set to safety. Today, we are going to look at the biology of that switch, the lateral habenula. We're going to explain why trying harder physically often fails, and how you can use the same protocol David Goggins used to physically rewire your brain's reaction to pain. Stop trying to win. It's time to learn how to break.
That voice in your head, the one telling you to stop. It isn't a spirit, it isn't a demon, and it certainly isn't weakness. It is a specific cluster of neurons located deep in the epithalamus called the lateral habenula. Think of the habenula as your brain's kill switch. For millions of years, its job was evolutionary risk management. If our ancestors wasted too much energy chasing a gazelle they couldn't catch, they died of starvation. So, the brain developed a safety mechanism. When you try something and fail, when effort exceeds reward, the lateral habenula lights up. It sends a signal to your midbrain to inhibit dopamine. It literally shuts off the fuel line to your motivation centers. That drop in your stomach, that sudden wave of exhaustion, that hopelessness, that is not an emotion. That is a chemical blockade. It is your biology screaming, "This is expensive, we are losing, abort mission." In the wild, this saved your life. In 2026, it is ruining it. Your habenula is calibrated for starvation, not for writing code, building a business, or lifting weights. When you hit a roadblock, your brain treats a difficult email the same way it treats a famine. It pulls the brake. Most people feel this chemical crash and interpret it as a moral failing. They think, "I'm not good enough." Wrong. You are just a machine operating on outdated software. The pain of failure is just the check engine light. The problem is, you've been trained to turn the car off the second it flickers. You need to learn how to drive with the light on. Let's look at a human lab rat, David Goggins. Internet culture treats Goggins like a mythical figure. They obsess over the shouting, the boats, the logs. But strip away the theatrics and look at the neurology. Goggins isn't tougher than you by magic. He has physically altered the architecture of his brain. Goggins talks about the inside noise, the hellish conditions. That is the lateral habenula screaming. He feels the exact same chemical dump you do, the same urge to quit, the same dopamine crash. But he has a counter mechanism. It's called the Anterior Midcingulate Cortex, aMCC. This is the seat of willpower. It is the biological counterweight to the habenula. Stanford neuroscientists, specifically the Huberman lab, have noted that the aMCC is smaller in obese people and larger in athletes. But here is the critical data point. The aMCC only grows when you engage in behavior you do not want to do. If you love running and you go for a run, the aMCC stays flat. If you hate running and you stare at your shoes for 10 minutes fighting the urge to quit, and then you run, the aMCC thickens. Goggins didn't just toughen up. He engaged in structural engineering. Every time the lateral habenula tried to cut his dopamine, he forced the aMCC to override the signal. He reweighted the seesaw. Most people are operating with a hyperactive habenula and a microscopic aMCC. You have a Ferrari engine with the brakes of a freight train locked in place.
You don't need more motivation. Motivation is dopamine, and remember, the habenula kills dopamine. You need structure. You need to build the biological hardware that allows you to function in a low dopamine environment. You need to hack the failure signal. How do you thicken the aMCC and desensitize the habenula? You don't do it by winning. You do it by failing correctly. Here is the protocol. 3 steps. Step 1. The friction audit. You need to identify the exact second the chemical crash happens. Is it minute 5 of writing the script? Is it the 8th rep of the squat? Is it the moment you open the spreadsheet? That sensation of agitation. That is the reward prediction error. Your brain expected this to be easy. It wasn't. The mismatch triggers the habenula. Spot it. Don't judge it. Just label it. There is the kill switch. Step 2. The pause protocol. This is where 99% of people lose. When the agitation hits, the modern instinct is to soothe it. You pick up your phone, you check Instagram, you grab a snack. Do not do this. When you distract yourself, you flood the brain with cheap dopamine. You mask the signal. To rewire the brain, you need neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity requires specific chemicals, acetylcholine for focus and norepinephrine for alertness. These chemicals are only released during struggle. If you scroll TikTok the second you feel frustrated, you are washing away the chemicals needed to learn. You are sterilizing the wound before it can heal stronger. When you fail, sit in the silence for 60 seconds. Stare at the wall. Let the agitation burn. That burning sensation? That is your brain marking the neural pathway for upgrade. Step 3. Duration over distance. Stop trying to finish the task. Your new goal is to prolong the suffering. If the habenula screams at you to quit, your objective is not to write another page. Your objective is to sit there, in the distress, for 5 more minutes without obeying the command. You are training the aMCC to override the habenula. You are teaching your brain that the kill switch is a false alarm. The more you ignore the alarm, the quieter it gets. The more you engage the aMCC, the thicker it gets. You are not looking for a win. You are looking for a callus. Let's go back to the blacksmith. Metal does not become a sword because it wants to. It becomes a sword because it is heated until it almost melts, and then it is struck. Over, and over, and over. The metal is failing. It is being broken down so its molecules can realign into a lattice structure that is harder than before. Your brain works the same way. If you spend your life avoiding the heat, avoiding the hammer, avoiding that chemical crash of failure, you remain soft iron, malleable, weak. This week, I want you to seek out a micro failure. Find the point where your brain screams, stop. And instead of quitting, and instead of distracting yourself, just sit there. Hold the line. Success is just a callus over a wound you refuse to hide from. So go out there, find your limit, and let it break you. That is the only way you become the sword.